Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you a little story here. About 2 or 3 months ago, I started having issues with my truck. Maybe it was longer than ago, but the timeline really, in that respect, doesn't matter. What happened is at 25 miles an hour, I would get this bouncing, not a bouncing, but a vibration, a very strong vibration at 25 miles an hour. And it would go away by 30 miles an hour, it would absolutely go away. So I didn't know what it was. I checked the tires to make sure I wasn't getting, didn't have a bulge, didn't have a bad tire, didn't have something going on with the tires coming from the back end. Just, I want to be clear on that. Had nothing to do with the suspension in the front end or anything. It came from the back end. So, as you probably know, or if you would follow me, I haven't made a video in a long time, but anyways, what the truck is a 2018 Ram 3500, has a 6.7 Cummins engine in it, has a standard transmission, G56 transmission. It's a crew cab, so it's got the long wheelbase. But anyways, so I had that problem. Then what I did was I kind of was having little squeaks from the clutch when I would let the clutch out, thinking the clutch was wearing down. It was a South Bend dual disc clutch. I thought it was wearing down. So as long as I had been getting squeaks from it and I had this problem, I was thinking it was a clutch. So what I did was replace the clutch. Well, the problem still existed after I replaced the clutch. Couldn't figure out what it was. Mind you, I had the driveline entirely out to replace the clutch, so I couldn't figure out what it was. Kind of looked at other things to make sure nothing was going on with anything, and went from there. But anyways, it did not fix the problem. So over a period of time, the problem had kept getting worse and worse. And I had the truck up in the air a couple of times just to see if I could figure out what it was or double check the tires, double check the rear end, stuff like that. Couldn't figure it out. What happened is the vibration started changing. Originally started out at 25 miles an hour and would stop after it got up to around 28 miles an hour. Then it started changing. The speed of it started shifting up. Got up to about 35 miles an hour instead of 25, and then it went up to 50. Anyways, probably about a week and a half ago, we got under the truck and figured out it was a carrier bearing on the drive shaft. Carrier bearing was bad. So, what we did, went online first and started trying to find the carrier bearing for the drive shaft. What we came up with is against a stone wall. We couldn't find a part listing for the carrier bearing. Then we discovered that Chrysler deems the carrier bearing, Chrysler being Ram, deems this carrier bearing in the drive shaft on that truck as a non-serviceable item. So that's why there was no part listing for it. What in fact you had to do is buy the entire drive shaft with the carrier bearing already assembled on it. So after a couple of days of us thinking that there's no way that this could be happening, you shouldn't have to buy an entire drive shaft to replace a carrier bearing, and not being able to find the carrier bearing because we can't get a part, we don't know who manufactures it, because if you go to a parts store, an auto parts store, VIN number. All they want is a VIN number. Nobody knows anything but VIN numbers. After a couple of days of us not being able to find the carrier bearing, we started looking at the drive shaft, thinking that if I have to replace the drive shaft, that's what I'll do to get a new bearing. Turns out the drive shaft is unavailable. That's how Chrysler has it listed, unavailable. So now I can't get a carrier bearing, and now I can't get a drive shaft. So basically the truck is out of service. So now I start going to other people. I call a drive shaft company. The guy says to me, well, we might have a carrier bearing that will fit on the drive shaft, but I wouldn't know unless you bring the drive shaft up to me. I said, can I bring the truck up to you? No, we can't take the drive shaft off here. All we do is service drive shafts. I said, okay, if you have a carrier bearing, can you put and I bring you the drive shaft, can you install it? No, we don't install carrier bearings. So I went another route. I went to a heavy equipment provider. It's called Fry Heavy Equipment. And they do in the Buffalo area, well, in New York, central and western New York, they do service work on trucks, heavy equipment. I called them. They said they can't find it. So I am in the process now of trying to locate a carrier bearing or a drive shaft for, again, a 2018 Ram 3500 crew cab, which is a longer wheelbase, with a G56 transmission. Now, the part that's stumping everybody is because it is a standard transmission. Apparently, and I don't know this for a fact, but if it had an automatic transmission, a Nason automatic transmission, the drive shaft might be available. But I'm not sure of that because I don't have that, and I'm not going to explore that option right now because the way it bolts up to the transmission is entirely different from a standard to an automatic. But anyways, going to be a short video. Going to probably end it here. Anybody knows anything about this, please leave a comment. Please share the video with anybody that you think may know something about it or be of help in finding out what that carrier bearing. I have to assume that the carrier bearing's not made by Chrysler or Ram. That's probably made by somebody else. If they know where I could get one, what brand it is. But anyways, again, short video. I'll try and make some more videos pretty soon, but just this. On a kind of a side note, this probably isn't happening with just Chrysler. It's probably happening with everybody. I was talking to a girl while I was getting lunch, and she said that she had bought a brand new Bronco, and there's a 2-page list of recall items, safety recall items on the Bronco, but they told her not to bring it in because they are unable to get the parts for it. So apparently this is becoming a widespread problem. But again, if you know anybody that knows anything about this, has any sources for either the drive shaft or a carrier bearing, please leave a comment, let us know, share the video with anybody that you think may be able to help. But anyways, that's it.